All right, so where we let off, or where we finished off rather, was thinking about the distinction between belief and knowledge. Okay? And arguing that there is indeed a difference, right? And what is that difference? And then moreover, and I didn't kind of dive into this in the last video, but interestingly, people, maybe it's human nature, I don't know, that's a pretty provocative claim, right? But people get very, very passionate about defending their beliefs, right? Because beliefs structure our reality, right? We navigate through our world based off of what we believe. Maybe even more so than what we claim to know, right? Because, and this is obviously a tension that we see often in social, political, maybe religious discourse, right? That one can hold a belief that is in fact maybe disproven, or in fact, at least seriously questioned by empirical data, empirical verification, but yet, for reasons, for navigating through the world, people continue to hold beliefs that might very well be the wrong beliefs to hold because they have been disproven. And that's interesting. Okay? So thinking about that and thinking about how kind of beliefs structure the way we engage with reality, and moreover, kind of what we claim to know also helps us navigate through reality, but there is a distinction there. Well, let's make the conversation a little bit more challenging. What about understanding? What does it mean to understand something? Right? And how does that differentiate between belief and knowledge? Right? Because if I were to claim I understand how God works, or if I were to claim I understand that God doesn't exist and it's just I understand that I can navigate the world without a deity, right? Well, what does that mean? Right? So thinking about what understanding is, thinking about the nature of what it means to understand something. And often in class I use the example that, every time I go to my car, I believe that it will start. If I put the key in the ignition, I turn it, I believe it will start. I don't know that it's going to start, right? But let's just say I believe that it's going to start. I turn the car on. My belief is justified. It starts, right? And I start driving. I don't know how the car is operating. I don't know much about mechanics. I've not seriously investigated what it's like to know the mechanics of the inner workings of a vehicle, right? And I certainly would not claim to understand how a car works, right? I have ideas. I have beliefs. I might know that if I put, gas in the gas tank, it's going to fill up, and then that should also fuel me, both, I guess, literally and metaphorically, to the place that I'm trying to go. But do I understand how the car works, how all the interrelated pieces work together? Absolutely not. Because I haven't put in the time, I haven't put in the effort to learn about them, to know about how a car works. Okay? So again, what does it mean to understand something? And how does that differentiate between knowledge and belief? And then lastly here, certainty. Okay? What does it mean to be certain of something? Is it possible to be certain of anything? Right? That when I go down to my car, I get in, am I certain that it's going to start? Absolutely not. When I go down to my car and I get in and it starts, and I have a destination in mind, is it certain that I will make it to that destination? Absolutely not. Right? I could get a flat tire, I could get hit by another vehicle, I could fall asleep at the wheel. Yikes. Right? There are so many variables as it relates to what I might think I'm certain of. Right? So, what is it that we can be certain of, if anything? It's a hard question, right? And again, I would say that a lot of us, the way we structure our lives, a lot of that which is kind of thrown at us from media, from culture, from politicians, right? They claim that they have the truth. They claim that they are certain about this is how life ought to be. This is how life ought to be led. This is what we ought to adopt. Well, what does it mean to hold that certainty? And how scrutinizing should we be when one claims certainty? Right? And so taking all of that in stride, okay, thinking about my initial question of what it means to know, thinking about the initial question of the nature of knowledge, right? The idea of how we know what we know, and do we really know anything at all? And how does that knowledge differentiate from belief? How does it differentiate from understanding? And how does it differentiate from certainty? Okay. And so keeping all of that in congruence here, I hope that that gives you at least a lot to think about. And I hope that it gives you a lot to think about insofar as really evaluating your knowledge claims, evaluating your belief claims, evaluating how it is you understand something, how it is you claim certainty on something. Like, is it certain that I'm going to wake up tomorrow? Is it certain that the sun is going to rise tomorrow? Probably not. Right? It's probably not certain. Because there's so many variabilities of what could happen between now and tomorrow. Maybe that's a frightening prospect. Maybe it's also enlivening, depending on how you want to look at it. But it does call into serious question what we think about certainty and what we think about knowledge. And that's one of the main takeaways here.